Last time we explored the time-dependent fusion reaction from the deuterium intermediate and showed how the electron energy is coupled to the nuclear force through a simple momentum and energy balance. This is, of course, facilitated by the close proximity of the electron probability distribution to the two deuterons during fusion. Now we want to look at how the hot fusion to tritium and a proton can also take place and estimate the probability for this reaction relative to the formation of helium. This also explains why the reaction to helium-3 and a neutron does not occur. The loss of energy via the electrons occurs as the compound nucleus of the reaction is forming, so the energy is lost before the compound nucleus forms. The tritium-proton reaction can only occur if the helium product state is sort of reversible. There is a state that takes back the energy from the electron if the tritium and proton leave aligned with the electron, so as to allow the electron to accelerate one of the particles, thus giving up the 1 keV of kinetic energy. We can estimate the tritium-proton probability by comparing the volume of the compound nucleus with the volume in the nucleus consistent with the tritium and proton mimicking the incoming deuterons. Recall that in simplifying the path integral, we assumed that the electron radius of rotation in the xy plane was taken from the center of the deuterons. This approximation has an error of less than 0.1%. Now we need the deuteron distance from the center of mass, which we use for the tritium and proton. This is illustrated here. When the two deuterons are reacting, the radius of the incoming deuterons in the xy plane can be estimated by the reduced mass of the two deuterons and the electron. To get the average deuteron radius, we simply integrate the electron radius times the probability along the full range of the z-axis. We then adjust this with the reduced mass of the electron to get the average particle radius in the compound nucleus of 0.005 Fermi. With this average nuclear particle orbital radius that correlates with an electron position on the z-axis, we can estimate the probability for this state. We first generate a tritium-proton wave function of 4 MeV from a spherical Gaussian distribution. We then find the ratio of the volume of the tritium and proton aligned with the electron relative to the total volume of the compound nucleus. This will give a probability of 10 to the minus 6. Since the deuteron wave function is spherically symmetric, this tritium and proton wave function will also be spherical. The limiting factor, of course, is the tritium-proton correlation with the electron. Knowing the amount of tritium, it is a straightforward hot fusion calculation to estimate the neutrons from the tritium plus deuteron reaction. We use a simple probability of survival for the tritium in the palladium deuteride crystal. Using the concentration of deuterons, the approximate cross-section for the reaction as taken from this cross-section versus energy curve, then use the range of the 1 MeV tritium and palladium of about 1 micron, taken from this chart of proton ranges. And this gives the probability as shown here, from which we can calculate the neutron probability per tritium as shown. Then, by multiplying the tritium and neutron probabilities, we get the overall neutrons per cold fusion reaction. This is about 10 to the minus 12, consistent with experiments. Just a quick comment about using the Gaussian distribution for the particles involved with the energy loss. The waveforms are calculated so that the average energy is of the desired energy of the particles. The Gaussian is used because it has the maximum entropy for the confined particles with the given energy. The Gaussian distribution will spread at the average velocity of the particles, sort of as shown here. Now that we have built up a logical quantitative quantum model of cold fusion of two deuterons giving helium-4 and about 1 keV electrons as the main products with trace tritium and neutrons, we can explore the deuteron intermediate chemistry in the palladium deuteride environment. Next time we will illustrate the probable chemical form that the intermediate takes.